Hi children, yesterday we discussed one is the refraction of light. What is the refraction of light? Light ray traveling from one medium to another medium, it deviates from its original path, is called refraction of light. Conditions for no refraction. What are the conditions for no refraction? I equal to 0. Angle I equal to 0, there is no refraction. And refractive index of both media is equal, then there is no refraction. During refraction, phase of vibration of particle remains constant, frequency constant, only speed and wavelength changes. Due to the speed of the light changes, we are getting refraction. Refraction of light through glass slab. We discussed yesterday one lab activity. Refraction of light through glass slab. And what are the laws of refraction? The first law of refraction is Snell's law. It is the ratio of sine of angle of incidence to sine of angle of refraction. It is the ratio of sine of angle of incidence that of sine of angle of refraction is said to be is constant. This is called Snell's law. What is the second law? What is the second law of refraction? Incident ray, refracted ray, and normal at the point of incidence, all are lying same plane. Refractive index. We discussed yesterday two types of refractive index. One is the absolute refractive index, other one is the relative refractive index. What is the absolute refractive index? Refractive index is represented by n. So n equal to c by v. It is a ratio of speed of light in free space, that speed of light in any medium. So it has no units. Here relation is c is constant, n is inversely proportional to v. What is the relative refractive index? Refractive index of second medium with respect to the first medium, that equal to refractive index of second medium upon refractive index of first medium, that equal to speed of the light in first medium upon speed of the light in second medium, that equal to wavelength of light in first medium upon wavelength of light in second medium, that equal to 1 by refractive index of first medium with respect to the second medium. What is the critical angle? Critical angle means the angle of incidence in a denser medium. Here condition is the light ray traveling from denser to rarer. When a light ray traveling from denser to rarer, the angle of incidence, so n rarer by n denser equal to sin c. What is the formula for critical angle? N rarer by n rarer upon n denser, that equal to sin c. Then next we discussed total internal reflection and consequences. What are the conditions for total internal reflection? Here condition is angle I must be greater than critical angle, and compulsory the light ray traveling from denser medium to rarer medium. Before entering into the today's topic, I want to ask one question for you. Here I am showing 4 diagrams. In these all diagrams, what is a common point? What is a common point? You observe. What is the cause behind that? And next one, this is the transparent vessel which has curve shaped walls. I pour some water inside that. So I separate this portion from the vessel. It appears like this. So here this is the curved surface. This curved surface dividing into two media. So this acts as the interface. This is the air medium, this is the water medium. So air medium acts as a rarer medium, this is the denser medium. So here some related terms to this diagram. This is a parallel beam of light. So here I draw dotted lines. So this dotted lines represents to us normal. What is a normal? It is a line joining from point of incidence to center of curvature is called normal. And here this is a pole. it is a point. It is a point on the curved surface. It should be at the middle of the surface. So this is called pole. So what is the pole definition? The center of curved surface. The center of curved surface is called pole. Then next, what is this? This is the principal axis. What is the principal axis means? It is a line joining. So it is a line joining from pole to pole and center of curvature. So here definition I gave here. So the line that curved center of curvature and pole is called principal axis. It is a line that center of curvature and pole is called principal axis. And next one is center of curvature. What is center of curvature? The center of the sphere. The center of the sphere. So this portion we are taking from the sphere. So this center, the center of the sphere of which the curved surface is a part. So this curved surface is a part from this sphere. So this center is we are taking as the center of the curved surface. So center of curvature is the center of the sphere of which the curved surface is a part is called center of curved surface. Here we are observing different diagrams. This is the first diagram. Here this is the rarer medium, this is the denser medium. This is the rarer medium, this is the denser medium. Light ray traveling along the normal. So there is no deviation. Why? Because angle I equal to 0. Already we said angle I equal to 0 means there is no refraction. So the light ray passes along the normal, passes through the center of curvature, no deviation. This is the second diagram. You observe here second diagram. Here the light ray, this is the light ray which is parallel to the principal axis, strikes a, this is a convex surface. This is a convex surface, inside concave surface, already we know that. So strikes a convex surface. The light travels from rarer medium to denser medium. When the light travels from rarer medium to denser medium, already we know that it bends towards the normal. This is the angle I, this is the angle R. Angle I is greater than angle R. Next case. Here the light traveling from rarer medium, denser medium to rarer medium. It strikes on convex surface. So the light traveling from denser medium to rarer medium. So already we know that when the light traveling from denser medium to rarer medium, it bends away from the normal. So here also this is the angle I, this is the angle R. Angle I is less than angle R. Here condition is light ray strikes a convex surface and passes from denser medium to rarer medium. So bends away from the normal. Here the light ray strikes on concave surface, inside surface. So light ray travels from denser medium to rarer medium. Denser medium to rarer medium, that's why bends away from the normal. This is a normal. This is the angle of incidence. This is the angle of refraction. So bends away from the normal. Means the after refraction, the light ray travels towards the principal axis. Next case 4. Here the light ray traveling from rarer to denser, it strikes on concave surface. Already we know that a light ray traveling from rarer to denser, it bends towards the normal. Here also the light ray traveling from rarer to denser, it strikes on concave surface, it bends towards the normal. Now I am going to explain image formation, derivation of curved surface formula. I will explain this derivation of curved surface formula through
A lemon immersed in a vessel filled with water appears larger in size than its actual size when viewed from the sides of the vessel. Let us find the reason why a lemon appears in a bigger size. Assume a curved surface separating two media of refractive indices N1 and N2. A point object is placed at the point O on the principal axis. The incident ray travels along the principal axis, moves through the interface without deviation. Another incident ray passes along the principal axis, making a certain angle alpha and meets the interface at point say as A. So the incident ray has an angle of incidence say theta 1. The incidence ray refracts and travels along the line AI through the second medium. Similarly, refracted ray has an angle of refraction theta 2. Hence, the image is formed at the point I where the two refracted rays meet. Nature of the image. Here, the second refracted ray makes angle gamma with principal axis and beta is the angle between the normal line and principal axis. From the image, PO is the object distance, PI is the image distance from the center point of the curved surface. Similarly, PC represents the radius of the curvature. Now, let us find the relationship between the object distance and image distance. From the ACO triangle, we obtain an expression for theta 1. Theta 1 is equal to alpha plus beta. From the ACI triangle, we obtain an expression for theta 2. Beta is equal to theta 2 plus gamma. This implies theta 2 is equal to beta minus gamma. Substituting the expressions of theta 1 and theta 2 in Snell's law, we have n1 into sine theta 1 is equal to n2 into sine theta 2. n1 sine into alpha plus beta is equal to n2 sine into beta minus gamma. From the figure, we observe that the rays move extremely close to the principal axis. These rays are called as paraxial rays. Due to their close proximity to the principal axis, the angles alpha, beta and gamma made by these rays become extremely small. This approximation is called paraxial approximation. As a result of this approximation, sine alpha plus beta is equal to alpha plus beta and sine beta minus gamma is equal to beta minus gamma. Equation 1 now becomes n1 into alpha plus beta is equal to n2 into beta minus gamma. n1 alpha plus n1 beta is equal to n2 beta minus n2 gamma. Consider it as a equation 2. From the triangle AON, tan alpha is equal to AN by NO. From the triangle ACN, tan beta is equal to AN by NC. From the triangle AIN, tan gamma is equal to AN by NI. Substituting the alpha, beta and gamma values in equation 2, we get, let us observe the equation. The point N coincides with pole of the interface P, while the rays move extremely close to the principal axis. Then Ni, No, Nc can be changed as Pi, Po and Pc correspondingly. We obtain the following equation by replacing the values of Ni, No, Nc with Pi, Po and Pc in that order. Let us observe the equation. The equation which is shown on the screen represents the relationship among the refractive indices of media, object distance, image distance and radius of curvature. Generalized equation. The equation which is shown on the screen can be changed as generalized equation by using the following sign conventions. All distances are measured from the pole. The distances that are measured in the direction of the incident light ray are considered to be positive. The distances that are measured in the opposite direction of the incident light ray are considered to be negative. The heights which are measured vertically above from the points on the axis are considered to be positive. The heights which are measured vertically below from the points on the axis are considered to be negative. In the generalized form, U represents the object distance PO, V represents the image distance and R represents the radius of curvature. We consider the following representations as per sign conventions. PO is equal to minus U, PI is equal to V, PC is equal to R. The following equation can be obtained by replacing the above values in equation 4. N2 by V minus N1 by U is equal to n2 minus n1 by r. Consider it as equation 5. The equation shown on screen is also be used for plane surfaces. In the case of a plane surface, I by r becomes 0 because the radius of curvature r approaches to infinity. So equation 5 becomes n2 by v minus n1 by u is equal to 0. It gives rise to n2 by v is equal to n1 by u.
Video. So this is the curved surface formula, n2 by v minus n1 by u, that equal n2 minus n1 by r. So n1 means refractive index of one medium is n1, refractive index of second medium is n2. So this is the object distance. The distance between object to curved surface is called object distance. The distance between curved surface to image is called image distance. So n2 refractive indices n2 and n1. R is the radius of curvature, the distance between pole to here center of curvature. If the surface is plane, then what about this formula? We know that if the surface is plane, R approaches infinity. R is infinity value. So I will substitute infinity at R, n2 by v minus n1 by u, that equal to n2 minus n1 upon infinity. So n2 upon v minus n1 upon u, that equal to 0. So I will take this term this side. Then n2 upon v, that equal to n1 upon u. So n2 upon n1 equal to v upon u. So this is the formula. This is the plane surface formula. This is curved surface formula. Is lenses. So what is a lens? Lens is formed when a transparent material is bounded by two surfaces, which one or both are spherical. Once again I repeat this definition. Lens is formed when a transparent material is bounded by two surfaces, of which one or both are spherical. So here we observe different types of lenses. In our 10th class we observe six types of lenses. This is the first biconvex lens, and second one is plano convex lens, and next one is concavo convex lens. One is a biconvex, plano convex, concavo convex. Here biconcave lens, plano concave lens, and convexo concave lens. These six type of lenses we observe in 10th class textbook. Among these six we are taking only these two. One is the biconvex, another one is the biconcave lens. Biconvex. While drawing ray diagrams, we are taking the symbol of biconvex is this, biconcave is this. If you observe here, the diagram is this is the biconvex lens. The lens which is thicker in middle than at edges. Here we observe the lens which is thicker at edges than in middle. So these two are very, very important related terms which are belonging to lenses. So first this is one sphere, this is another sphere. This sphere is, let me take that is the first sphere, this is the second sphere. So this is the, here we observe when we separate this portion from this sphere, it appears like this. So this small portion we are taking from this first sphere, this portion we are taking from the second sphere. When we join these two appears like a lens. So what are the related terms to this diagram? The first term is center of curvature. What is the center of curvature? Here the center of the sphere which contains the part of curved surface. The center of sphere which contains the part of curved surface. So this center of these centers C1 and C2 belongings to first sphere and second sphere. We are taking the same centers as a center of curvatures to the curved surfaces. So first definition already we discussed. Once again I repeat this definition. Center of curvature means the center of sphere which contains the part of curved surface. Here let me take the centers C1 and C2. So center of curvature we can represented by letters C1 and C2. And radius of curvature. This is the optic center. The distance between optic center to center of curvature is called radius of curvature. So here we observe the distance between optic center to C1 is R1. The distance between optic center to C2 is R2. We observe two center of curvatures and two radius of curvatures. Radius of curvatures is a singular. So when we pronounce that, we are taking radii of curvatures. Radii of curvatures. Why? Because we observe two radius of curvature here. One is R1, another one is R2. So the lens has two radii of curvature. Radii curvature. Next, principal axis. What is the principal axis? The line joining the points C1 and C2. This total. The line joining the points C1 and C2 is called principal axis. Optic center. Optic center means this. The midpoint of thin lens. This is the exactly this should be at midpoint. The midpoint of thin lens is called optic center. Next, principal focus. What is a principal focus means? Already in first lesson we made one activity for finding the focus of concave mirror. So here also the same activity. When we take magnifying glass and we have to make the magnifying glass focus to the sun. After refraction, all the sun rays are intersecting at a point. That point is said to be focus. So this is the convex lens. Here the rays which are parallel to the principal axis, after refraction from the convex lens, all are converging at a point on principal axis. This point is said to be focus. The distance between focus to optic center is called focal length. This is the concave lens. So these are parallel beam of light. After refraction from the concave lens, diverging takes place. So here these rays are after refraction. The refracted rays are not intersecting this side. That's why we extended this side. So these are all extended refracted rays. All the extended refracted rays are intersecting at a point on principal axis. This point is said to be focus. This convex lens is converging. This concave lens is diverging lens. So here focus is real. Here focus is virtual. Now rules for obtaining images formed by lenses. In previous class already we discussed the rule 1, rule 2, rule 3, rule 4 in mirror case. Like that here also we are observing rules for obtaining image formed by lenses. Rule 1. This is the convex lens. This is the concave lens. So the first rule is array passing optical center. Array passing optical center proceeds undeviated. Array passing optical center proceeds undeviated. Here also array passing optical center proceeds undeviated. Already we discussed it. Array is passing along the normal, angle of incidence is 0. That's why there is no refraction takes place. Here also, here light ray passing through the optic center, undeviation takes place. Second, rule 2. Array passing through the first focus. Here, array passing through the first focus, after refraction from the convex lens, it is parallel to the principal axis. Here, array appears to passes through the focus. Array appears to passes through the focus after refraction parallel to the principal axis. Third one, array passing parallel to the principal axis. Here a ray passing parallel to the principal axis after refraction from convex lens passes through the focus. This is a converging lens. This is also converging lens. These three are convex lens. Convex lens, already you know that convex lens is converging lens. Concave lens is diverging lens. So here a ray parallel to the principal axis, after refraction the refracted ray appears to coming from the focus. This refracted ray, when we observe from this side, this refracted ray appears to coming from this focus. So while drawing ray diagrams, these three rules are very important. When we are going to draw ray diagrams, among these three rules we are taking any two rays. Image formation due to convex lens. This image formation due to convex lens is depending on object which is in front of the convex lens. If you are changes the position of object, we are getting different types of images, and we are getting different nature of images also. So for understanding this, we have a lab activity 10th class. I will explain this image formation due to convex lens through video.
Let's find out the image formation by a convex lens for different positions of the object from it. A convex lens on a stand, a candle with flame and a paper screen to capture the image are taken on a horizontal surface as shown. Positions of the center of curvature 2F1, 2F2, focal points F1, F2 and pole O are marked from the convex lens. When the object, that is the candle, is placed at infinity, how is the image formed? Adjust the position of the screen until you get a sharp image. We can see that a bright point-sized image is formed on the screen when the screen is in the position F2. With the candle placed beyond the position 2F1, adjust the screen until you get a sharp, bright image of the candle flame on it. We can see that a clear, magnified, inverted image of flame is formed when the screen is placed beyond 2F2. With the candle placed at F1, adjust the position of the screen. We can see that an image could not be captured on the screen at a very large distance. This can be verified with the help of ray diagram. Here, we can see that a highly enlarged image is formed at infinity. With the candle placed between F1 and O, adjust the position of the screen. Here, we can't capture the image on the screen. From the ray diagram, we can see that the image can't be formed behind the lens. Thus, it is a virtual image. Hence, we find that image formed by the convex lens is real or virtual, magnified, same-sized or diminished, erect or inverted for different positions of the object.